Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have read and enjoyed recently. And my guest for this week is author Anamika Kundu, and we are going to discuss her debut book. And it's a collection of short stories. We are going to talk about that book and her journey as an author and a writer. So do stay tuned. This promises to be a really interesting conversation. Okay, we have Anamika here already. Let me invite her and start the live. I know. Okay, it's just that you are unable to join. Let me send the invitation again. Okay, I sent you another invitation. Anamika, see if you. Yes, see, it happened
Hi.
on the second attempt. Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
And
So happy to have you here. Welcome to my show. Welcome to the Author Collaborative.
thank you so much. And I'm so happy to be here.
And we already have Aparna and Nilsri here. Wonderful to have them. We also have Outstagram. Thank you for joining, guys. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. Stay with us till the end, please. Yes, Anamika, welcome. Before we begin, please just introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. Um, well, you mentioned Aparna and Nilashri, both of them know me, but still, I hope that there are some more listeners and
Yes,
participants.
yes, we have Suchita, we have Adi, we have a few others. Please,
Oh,
please introduce.
great, great. So, hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. And I'm Anamika Kundu, what should I say, teacher by profession, and I teach English. And I think being an army brat and an army wife, it has given me a great experience of going around the country, the length and the breadth, and meeting so many people. Reading has been a part of me, an integral part of me right from my childhood. And maybe somewhere deep within my heart, I did harbor a dream to be an author someday. And here I am today. So that's me.
Oh, lovely. And I just realized that this is your debut book. I mean, I was under the impression that, not just because I have been following you for a while, but also because I have read the book and it feels like somebody who has had experience in the writing field has written the book. So that just goes to show how good you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, I have, been contributing to anthologies, and I have curated three books and edited them. And they are all very interesting titles: Changed Forever, The Runner's Tribe, and Donning the Uniform, A Privilege. So they're very, very unique and very niche. And but to come up with my own collection of short stories, I think was the best experience for me.
Of course, that's unmatchable, right?
Yes,
Having like just your creation,
all
nobody else to
your
share.
baby.
Yes, wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Thank
And
you
since we
so
are
much.
talking about it, let's just show the audience the book that we are talking about. It's this book that we are talking about, and it's a collection of 35 short
Right.
stories. And I want to tell you, I am in awe of how you have managed to write 35 stories which are so diverse. Like, they are multiple genre stories, and you
Right.
have managed to not only write about, like, there are romantic stories, of course, and of course, they are my favorite. I'm sure everyone knows that because I have shared a quote from one of the stories which is about love.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. It humbled me. I was so thrilled to see that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was of course one of my favorite stories. But I also am in awe of how you have managed to write stories which are fantastical, and they are also dystopian stories. And you have also written from the perspective of animals, which was like, wow, she has done. I was reading while reading, I was like, she has mixed so many genres and done it so wonderfully that I'm a reader and a writer who believes that कुछ focused होना चाहिए. If you are doing something, it has to have a theme, it has to have a message, and it should have a uh, consistent flow in the way that the stories are woven. But you have done it very well, and I really liked it.
Thank you
So
so much.
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. This is just Absolutely the best part of the day for me, and for many days. But my reason to write is basically I never wanted to write something with a message or a moral, because my purpose was completely entertainment. I
Okay.
wanted someone to enjoy reading a story.
Hmm.
I think I've been a storyteller right from my childhood. I used to narrate stories to my sisters. They
Oh, wow.
remember some of them still, and they say, "You every day we used to pester you for a story, and then you sometimes you would pretend to be reading something, but it used to be your own concoction." So I guess I've always been a storyteller at heart, and without harboring any great ambition to create a landmark piece of literature. So it was just how to narrate a story, and
Hmm.
for the purpose of entertainment. For quite some time, I didn't want to write anything sad because so much happening. I mean, I am very impressed by Munshi Premchand ji, but I was also very sure that I didn't want to write sad stories. So,
Okay.
but life isn't such. Life has all
Hmm.
flavors.
Hmm.
And so I realized that people would read my stories for a while, but then they won't be very convinced. So
Hmm.
I said, okay, I must put in all the flavors, all the emotions, and that's what I tried.
Hmm.
And I love nature. I think anybody who reads my writing can make that out. That just love being out in nature, and anything to do with nature, animals, pets, it's dear to me. And so I guess I could
Yeah.
incorporate those things in the stories.
Lovely. That brings me to where I want to read out from the book so that people know and are curious enough to check out the book. We have Anuja here who has said she loved the book.
Thank you, Anuja.
Yeah, so I am going to read out from this very same story from which I shared a quote earlier, and the story is titled "Dust to Mud to Dust."
Correct.
This is story number 11, and it goes something like this. They had come here to escape from their demanding jobs, the breakneck pace of their life, the constant living from one crisis to another and getting at each other's throats. One fine day, they stopped midway through their fight. They stopped suddenly while hurling accusations at each other. Anisha stopped to observe herself, as in an out of body experience, and she realized this was not her. What had their relationship come to? As did Rohan. They had an emotional meltdown, recalling their courtship days years ago, filled with love. They would walk hand in hand, discussing everything under the sun, inhaling the petrichor as they sipped hot chai, munching freely roasted peanuts, and had no qualms in voicing their differences. Of course, those were few and far between. Every day was a present, a celebration, and nothing was complete till they had shared it with one another. When did it change? Anisha said, "We need to break away from this self imposed hell. Can you come with me? I want to go find our loving selves, live life meaningfully." "Yes, let's do it before we change our minds." And they took the first flight out that they could find. Their hearts felt heavy, weighed down by guilt, remorse, and regret. They looked forward to this break like two truant teens. When the flight announced the approaching landing, they realized the recklessness of their adventure. They were landing in Leh. The first thing they realized was they didn't have warm clothes. No wonder people looked at them strangely.
That was beautiful reading. Thank you, Manali. That was really read out well.
My pleasure, because as I mentioned, and I think I'm going to keep repeating it, that this was one of my favorite stories, and it has so many wonderful takeaways. Like, we are looking at this couple and we look at them and realize that they teach us also that we are not appreciating the people around us enough, and we forget why we love them and why we are so close to them. So
We,
this was an
we,
important thing.
yeah, I think that's a very important thing for both people in a relationship to remember, that, things change. Uh, the romantic period as
I'm
such
just
may
going to
change.
pause you here. Aparna has said I am her pet. I
Please.
think this is this is based on your comment about being an animal and nature lover, but I don't know what that inside joke is.
Yes, Aparna, definitely you're my pet. You're my darling.
Yes, please continue.
Yes. So basically, I wanted, I mean, many people go through this differences and, the pressures of everyday living when the romantic phase has ended. But I think we still should remember
Hmm.
why we got together, and that, that is our intention to be together. And things may not be as rosy as they once seemed. And,
Yeah.
you know, um, life happens. But if we don't
Hmm.
remember, things may get distorted. And,
Yeah.
and it's not, and let's not judge anything by its cover. So even
Hmm.
people, because appearances will change, uh, people will change, they grow up, and they have different views. I think both need to grow up together.
Yeah.
And if we are truly in love, we will ensure that our partner is also constantly in touch with us so that we don't
Yes.
grow apart. We grow
Yes.
together.
Yes.
We don't grow apart. And we are a team. We have to
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. And that's wonderfully put together. Those messages that you're trying to say, they come out very well in the story.
Yes, yes,
Of course, there is a bit of twist which we don't want to give away, but
yes,
there is a takeaway in that as well.
yes.
Aparna is adding her own experience to it, and children happen end of romance.
No, you can keep the children home, or take them along and seat them on the other table when you have your date.
Aparna has also said about your stories that your stories work like a balm.
Thank you, Aparna. Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
Yeah, she's appreciating your thought
We will,
of leaving the
yeah,
kids behind and going and having a
date.
time of together with
Yeah.
with your partner. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So after that reading, I have a couple of questions for you related to your book
Yes.
and knowing your writing journey. My first question to you is once again about how you managed to create a mixed bag of stories. The stories are multi-genre. So tell us about just a second. Going to pull up the questions once again. What gave you the idea to do this? You have already answered a bit of it, but we would like to know in detail what gave
You
you
mean
the idea of
about a
and
book of multiple genres?
yeah,
Uh,
but and there's a second part to that question.
mhm.
How can we maintain a consistency or derive our inspiration for stories which are such multiple genre stories?
um, okay. First of all, the multiple genre. These stories have been written over a period of 2 years.
Okay.
It's not just like, sitting down every day and writing.
Hmm.
I have been a member of this online platform called Did You Write Today? And we come up with a weekly prompt. And so
Okay.
it gives you though the submission has to be done within 2 days. So you
Okay.
have 2 days to write.
Hmm.
Uh, and so every week there's a different prompt, and you get to write about different things.
Hmm.
So it makes things a lot easier because you don't have to think about what should I write about. So I
Hmm.
guess that takes care of that.
Hmm.
And then you just have to simply write. But before, when I started my journey, I could barely string together 250 words, and I would really marvel at the way people would write 1,000 word stories and 2,000 word stories. And I would say, my God, how can people do this? I mean, established authors do that, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
not people you know or hang out with.
Hmm.
And the day I wrote my 500 word story, like I gave a pat to myself. I said, wow, you've done a good job by writing 500 words together on a story. And so basically, the different genres happened that I wanted to test myself and see. Like I said, I would write only happy stories,
Hmm. Hmm.
but then I realized that, like I said, that that's not life. And stories which do not reflect life are fantasy.
Hmm.
And so fantasy came quite naturally to me because um, I guess I'm a dreamer.
Hmm.
So I could, dream of something and add some magical elements to it and
Hmm.
surrealism to it. because we have grown up also reading such books.
Hmm.
Enid Blyton, one of
Hmm.
our first favorite authors.
Yes,
She has liberated us from the shackles of the of regular life and world, right?
definitely. Yeah.
And so magic, surrealism creeps into my stories,
Hmm.
and sometimes probably I'm not even thinking about it, but it's an integral part of my story,
Hmm.
and that is why. And then when I was, I was being uh, told repeatedly by my friends and family that why don't you put a book together with all your
Hmm.
stories.
Hmm.
I said, okay, would you like to read a nice long novel or short stories? So many of my friends said, no, no, we don't have time to read a long novel. And, in fact, a long novel many times puts us off. So I said,
Hmm.
short story, yes, yes, we'll have 5 minutes, 6 minutes, we can read. So that was the reason why I said, okay, let
Oh,
me attempt a
okay.
short
Hmm.
story collection. And then in any case, I was dabbling with this writing one story a week. So I kind of picked up the ones which were most appreciated and worked a little on them,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's the
Okay.
book. That's how they are multi-genre.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally relate to what you said about being part of a community that pushes and inspires and motivates you to write.
Yes,
Because I was not going to mention my book at this point in the episode, but yes, because all those stories are also based on writing community prompts, and I understand what you are saying completely.
yes. But yours is all focused on one theme,
Yeah.
and so that runs through the whole book. But I guess that's what some people like to do. So each one to his own or her own.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have Urmi here who's saying thank God for Enid Blyton. And Nilshree has commented that Arish has recognized you.
Oh, thank you, Nilishri. Thank you, Urvi. And it's so nice to have both of you here. And Arish, I love you for that.
Okay, coming to my next question for you. I have never been. I love reading dystopian and fantasy, but I have never been able to string together words to form even a few lines or sentences, forget a story, related in this particular genre. And you have written quite a few in this collection
Yeah.
in that particular genre.
Yes.
So give us the tips on how you manage to, first of all, how does one go about writing a fantasy story? But my question is more specific to you, because from what I have learned and heard from fantasy writers is that the world building that they do in such stories, that itself takes up to 20 pages or maybe a couple of chapters. So I want to understand from you, how did you do it in such a short number of pages and
That's
words?
how I work. That's how I work. Chota chota. You know. So I'll just tell you that when I first attempted a sci-fi, I was thinking of course, it was going to be a short story, and I was thinking of what I wanted to communicate.
Okay.
You know, so
Hmm.
I think my first story, which was sci-fi, was Off
Hmm.
Peak, where I talk about why is it off peak? Because when humanity is at its peak,
Hmm.
then uh, mankind, and
Hmm.
then we kind of start going down.
Yeah.
It's a normal sine curve. We start going down, then the fall is so much greater
Hmm.
because we have scaled heights. So our fall is to the depths,
Yeah.
and when we fall to the depths, then all my storytelling and all the reading that came to my mind is probably only the cockroaches are going to survive.
Hmm.
And so to see that, to see that, there has to be someone from another world who has
Hmm.
to come, and
Hmm.
that is why that's a very short piece of peak, and so that's when this alien comes, and so I didn't have to create a world. The concept was enough, and
Hmm. Okay.
that drives the story.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a great tip. So when you have your message clear in your mind, it doesn't matter whether you are putting in that many
Right.
words into the world building. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Sorry. So like there are, I am instinctive in my writing.
Hmm.
There are many people who have a kind of a system in place, and very, very disciplined, I would say. And
Hmm.
for them, the whole process,
Hmm.
is step to step.
Yeah.
And then they would like that clarity. For me, I'll go ahead even if I can't see the end, you know,
Hmm.
because I believe, and that's happened with me many times, the story itself tells you,
Hmm.
the characters tell you this is how the story should end. Maybe I have a multiple ending, and then the difficulties to choose which one to put in the story
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Right.
So then again, the characters, they play the role,
Yeah.
and I'm sure all of us who are here right now have experienced that.
Yeah. Urmi is saying, I remember your story revolving around the forest and the tiger personified. It was beautiful.
Thank you for me. Coming from you, that is, thank you so much. Yes, yes,
Yes.
that is the inheritance. That's the first story in my book.
We have Vishu sir here.
I wish
I Vishu sir.
you, yeah,
He's saying
I,
hello, Anamika madam. I am assuming they are your colleague from your teaching. I think, right?
Vishu, no, you know how actually we started writing seriously is when on that platform, Vishu, Aparna, and there are a few more, we kind of got together and decided to write something. We had never met each other. We
Okay.
only knew each other online.
Hmm.
And we came up with a very interesting book called La Jawab Pizza.
Yes, Aparna has told me about this,
Yeah.
and the main characters of these stories are food
Yes,
items. Yes.
they are inspirations from, the characteristics are inspiration from the key ingredients of a pizza.
Yeah.
And La Jawab is actually an acronym for all our names.
Oh wow, how
Yes,
lovely.
La is for
That's
Prahlad.
very creative. Yeah.
Very. And hats off to the person who thought of all of us and who kind of, reached out to us and said, should we do this? And just over a talk on, I think, Zoom, I think, and we just said, okay, why not do it? And here we are.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so Anamika, that brings me to the end of the questions I had for you. You have also read my book. I would love to know your thoughts and answer any questions that you have.
Yeah. So, firstly, I must congratulate you for
You.
what a romantic book you
Thank
have created.
you
There
so
are
much.
29 short stories, and each one is filled with love and romance. And what I particularly liked was that together, the characters, the protagonist and the partner of the protagonist, they overcome all their hurdles. And I
Yeah,
just like that. And in fact,
thank
some
you.
of the moments take me back to my first days of being in love and
Oh,
being so romantic. So
that
thank you so
means
much for
so much.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to pause you and show this book cover to everyone so that they know what we are talking about.
Yeah.
This is the book that we are talking about, Heartstrings and Harmonies, and Anamika has read it and she's talking about her experience. Please go on.
Can I read a excerpt from that?
Of course, yes, yes, please do.
Yes. So although I loved each story, and the first story is really very romantic, and I can visualize it. It's called The Rain Falls Pitter Patter, and the whole story is very, very interesting. And I love the fact that the twist in the end, which shows how long that love lasted. But I'm going to go with a reading of from the second story. It's The Magic of the Season. I think that's what it's called. And the protagonist is Neeta, who's a teacher. So I guess I
Hmm,
identify more with her.
hmm,
And so the boy has come to see her, and it's the matrimonial scene. And I'll read from there. Neeta was speechless. You do know that I work in your town, right? My office is near to your school, and I come here 5 days a week anyway. That's Arun speaking. But and don't worry about the timing. You can visit your parents if you get free earlier than me. I'll pick you up from here. Nita had nothing to add to this conversation, except look askance at this man, a man she was meeting for the first time, and who seemed to have a solution to all her problems. Can you tell me about that ringtone on your phone? She went with the question which was topmost on her mind. Arun gave a sheepish smile. I have to be honest. This is not the first time I'm seeing you. I came to visit your school last month for some work. You were teaching the song to a class at the time. It was then that I inquired about you, and the rest followed, including choosing the song as my ringtone. That's so romantic and so cute. Once again, Nita had no verbal response. Her blushing face gave away her feelings, though. It's really, really sweet. And
Uh,
so
uh,
I must
Anuja is saying
compliment.
lovely reading. Thank you so much, Anuja. And I have to thank the people who have congratulated us. Anjana has said, congratulations, Anamika and Manali. Thank you so much, Anjana. Urmi has said, lovely title, Miss Manali. Thank you so much, Urmi. And Aparna, who has also read the book, she says, Manali's protagonists are hopeless romantics. Yes, just like me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But the book is so sweet and so loving
Thank
and
you.
so
Thank you so much.
romantic. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Yes.
I'm
So,
sure
shall
you
I
also
ask
have.
you a few
Yes,
questions?
please do.
You have got 29 stories, and each story is different,
Hmm.
with a different setting. So, how do you frame your plots? How do you create your characters?
So, my characters are generally, very real like people. If you read those characters and their conversations and their personality traits, you would always feel like the characters are somebody you might have known in your life, people who are around you, and people you talk to every day. Those are the kind of characteristics that I try giving to all my characters, not just in this book. In any fiction story that I write, I try doing that so that there is at least some relatability for the readers. Even if they might not know this person, they might know friend ka friend hai, yeah,
Yes.
distant relative hai, somebody like that, then they have heard or have met.
Correct, correct.
So that's how my motivation and inspiration comes. That try to make the characters as real as possible, as authentic as possible, give them personality traits and characteristics that people might be able to relate to. So that's what I have done in all these 29 stories also. And I have also tried to show a certain kind of growth in them. Even if the stories are short, I have tried to show that from the beginning of the story to the towards the end of the story, they become a different person. There is something that has changed in them, and for the better,
Yes, yes.
not just for themselves but for everyone around them. It becomes a little better for them, life is a little easier for them. So that's what I've done.
So you first sit and plan it out for the plot and all.
uh, no, so generally it's a mix of both. Sometimes the characters come to me first, and sometimes the stories come to me first. Uh, for some of these stories, the stories came to me first. For instance, the very first story that I wrote for this collection was uh, Ye Sham it's based on all the stories are based on a song. So the
Yes.
story that I'm talking about is Ye Sham Mastani, which is this intoxicating evening. The title of the story is that. That's the first story I wrote. And for that particular story, the characters came to me first. I was very sure that I want to show three generations of characters, and I want to show how this particular song and the device that they are talking about, it connects them. So I had the characters in mind. Yes, initially I was thinking of going with a granddaughter rather than a grandson. I wanted to make the third generation a female also. But then I thought, no, let's have a fresh perspective. Here is a boy who might not be as interested in family talks. He's just becoming a teenager, so he's growing distant a little from his mother, but then this happens and then they connect again. So that's how I wanted to base it. So that's generally how I go about. When the characters come to me, I base a story around them. And then if it's the other way around, the story comes to me, then I think of how in this particular setting would the characters behave. For instance, there is one story where I am talking about three women who don't have, they are not very rich. They belong to an underprivileged background, and they are sleeping at night, and they are one of the youngest of the three females. She's not able to sleep. Usually she's the one who's very positive and holds the family together, but during that particular night she's the one who's feeling down. So I was like, okay, let me put them in a setting where these three women can work as they can reverse their roles, and that's how the setting happened. I tried to show them in a small room where they are sleeping at night on the floor. They don't even have a bed, but they are drawing in uh, strength from each other.
That's such a lovely one, lovely thought. And I think that that when you have the clarity of the character, you know exactly how they are going to behave, and that helps you to kind of write the story
Yeah,
plot and what you want to communicate. Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
Aparna has a suggestion for both of us. She's saying, Manali, if you think of an audiobook, Anamika ma'am must give the voiceover.
Oh, sure. I would. That will be an honor. Thank you, Aparna, for such creative suggestions. So actually, you've answered the second question that I had for you, that whether you write instinctively or you are a methodical writer. You have, in fact, told me that you uh, kind of try both the
Yes.
aspects as and when it suits you.
I will tell you one thing about that in that answer particularly. Uh, I am a mix of plotter and panster. Panster is somebody who lets the story go as they write, and a plotter is somebody who has the thought in the thought of clarity where the story is going to go and what the characters are going to do. When it comes to short stories or shorter form of fiction or poetry, I'm a panster. And when it comes to novel writing, I'm a plotter. I plot so much you have no idea. I have Excel sheets where I have written the characters' names, their family members' names, their friends' names, what their eye color is, what their hair color is, what kind of
Wow.
clothes they like. So yeah, that's the kind of planning that goes into writing a novel.
I can imagine
And
that. Otherwise, you'll never get those 30,000, forty
yeah,
thousand words ever done.
yeah. And when it comes to short stories, yeah, I am a very intuitive writer when it comes to short stories. I let my instincts take over. Yes, I do have a particular message in mind that I want to give through the story, but then I let the characters and the settings take over it.
Oh, great, great. So I think that was a wonderful understanding how you work and how these stories have come along. Uh,
Yes, I think that brings us to the end of the long form questions that we had for each other,
yes,
right? Okay, we come to my favorite part of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. So, how we'll do this, Anamika, is how we'll do it back and forth. One question I will ask, and then one question you ask. Okay?
sure, sure. Yeah,
Okay, I have a very interesting question for you, and I love doing this to people who have written, many titles in the same collection. So, my first question to you is similar to the stories in Heartstrings and Harmonies, there are a few stories in your book also which are inspired by songs or which have mentioned music and songs. Can
correct.
you tell me the names of these stories and also the songs that are there in these stories?
You're quizzing me on my own book.
Yes, I love doing that.
Uh, Let me see. I think I've written down a few somewhere. Yes, so I have a story called Shadows, where the song is by uh, Simon and Garfunkel, Hello Darkness, My Friend.
Hmm.
And this is based on my own experiences. So, it is
Okay.
the song had triggered some
Hmm.
things. And so that is how. Then I remember very well that I wrote a Friday's Tale.
Hmm.
It was, the prompt was, I think, Friday. And immediately the song that came to my mind was ABBA's Friday Night and the Lights Are Low. So that is that
Hmm.
figures there. Then there is eternal romance. I wanted to say that romance is not only for teeny boppers and youngsters,
Hmm.
but even elderly people. And there I could remember the song by Elvis, but I can't help falling in love with you. And it's such a beautiful song, and you just want to dance to that. Another story that I really liked writing was Jump,
Hmm.
and the protagonist is an elderly lady in this. And there is a song which actually, the song I heard, and that kind of prompted me to write. It's by American authors, Best Day of My Life. So it's I jumped so high, I touched the sky. I love
Hmm.
that aspect, and my story came out thanks to them. Then I think this is all I can remember as of now. And in some stories, I have penned down some lyrical uh, lines,
Yeah.
basically to indicate. They're just penned down by me just to indicate some clues in
Yeah.
some, treasure hunt kind of a thing.
There's
Yeah,
also one more song by Elvis, I think. Love Me Tender in the last story, I think.
love me then. No, no, no.
No?
Have I? No,
I think so.
but
No?
I can't remember.
Okay. Please continue answering. I'm going to do a quick
Okay,
search
so
on
now
my
it's
Kindle
your
copy.
turn. Your turn
Yes.
to answer. What is
Yes.
your favorite genre?
My favorite genre is always a tie between two genres. I have read them most extensively, and I'm pretty sure if I do count on number of books I've read in both the genres, they will match, and that's thrillers and romance.
You're a
I
thriller
love them.
romantic, huh?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay. No, you have only one song by Elvis,
yes.
and it's an eternal romance, as you mentioned. Correct.
But you're giving me ideas now. I just love Elvis. Yeah.
Okay, my next question to you is few stories are interconnected, like one story continues and the next one is also the same characters, and the story begins from where the previous one ended. So, have
Yes.
you thought about converting these into a longer story or a book or maybe a novel?
Frankly, no, I never thought of it. It must have come about because my readers wanted to know more and they said, what next? What happened? We
Hmm,
want to
hmm.
know. So then I penned down what happened. It was more being forced by the readers than anything
Okay.
else. But that's a good idea. Maybe I can give it a thought
Yeah.
and see if some of the stories can be strung together and
I
have a
particularly want to read more of that story where the couple has gone on their honeymoon to Switzerland and something happens. There was a bit of a mystery there.
two
So I
colds.
would, yeah,
So the too cold is followed by too cold too,
yeah,
because
exactly.
yeah,
But I want
but
to know
but
about
the
that character
first
who's, who
yeah, my
who's
my
who,
editor also, she got after my life. She says, no, you have to give more of a backstory to this woman.
yes.
So, because I like my students probably was just trying to finish it off in a short span, and she says, "No, I want to know more." So I had to add a few more details. Otherwise, she wouldn't let me be. So yeah, that's how it came about. And like I said, I would always write happy stories. So
Hmm,
there is the first thriller or horror that is there in this book
hmm,
also. My readers, when they read, and some of them read in the middle of the night, and they
hmm.
said it's about the beach, the silent beach or something is there,
Oh,
right?
that was also a good story. Oh my God, that was
And they
really
read it
creepy.
in the middle of the night. They said, "Oh, Anamika ki story hai, so it'll be nice, sweet,
Yeah.
sweet." And they
How
had
wrong?
so much to tell me about it the next day. I said, "Come on, I can do anything. I'm the right." So yes, so
Yeah.
that gave me a big kick about unexpected twists.
Yeah. Urmi is calling you dancing queen, by the way.
Oh yeah, Dancing Queen. Yes, thank you so much.
And we have Samir here who's saying, hey, hi Samir, thank you for
Hi.
joining us. Okay, so I think it's your turn.
My turn. Wait, I have written some very interesting questions for you. Very simple.
Hmm.
What's your favorite color and why?
I'm going to answer a very cliche thing. It's blue.
Yeah.
It's always been blue. And the reason is that I'm a big cricket fan and the color of Team India is blue.
Well, we get to know a little bit more about you.
There's also, of course, green. The second one is, of course, green. And green is my favorite because it shows nature in its bounty.
Yes. That's what I would have assumed because all the pictures that I see are you enjoying yourself in nature. You see,
No,
but
but the first would always be blue. Yes, and the reason is yes, that
and the
very
reason is more interesting. Yeah. So,
Yes.
great.
Okay. My next question to you is animals have been given a perspective in some of the stories. And can you name these stories?
Shadow and Shadowed.
Hmm.
Then there is the first story, The Inheritance.
Hmm.
Then
I put you in the spot. I loved it.
Off Peak, I mentioned Off Peak, the
Yeah.
cockroach
Yes.
perspective. And Treasure Hunt also has a
Hmm.
tiger. And after penning it down, I realized that I have tigers coming recurringly, and that was
Hmm.
I wanted to know.
There's
I
one.
wanted to explore that also.
There's one
There's
more.
one more. Uh, oh,
It has
you tell
a
me.
pack of wolves.
Oh yes, 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 the pack of wolves. So actually, I had written that as a short story about the moon and the pack of wolves, and so the reader did not know that they were a pack of wolves till they came to the end of the story. But then
Hmm.
I wanted to lengthen it a little bit more and
Okay.
so make it more meaningful.
That
I've
was also
gone
a
about
really
that. Yes,
interesting read.
yes.
Yeah.
And that was the first story which I wrote like a story, and I was appreciated for that. And
Hmm.
it's really dear to me because of
Yeah.
that.
Nice. Good to know.
Thank
Okay,
you.
your turn.
Yes, your turn. Okay, my question is very simple. What is Manali like? A stroll in the sunshine or a stroll in pouring rain?
Oh my God. Okay, this
Is
really
it
depends
because
on the
of
season.
so many rainy day stories and songs in your book?
Yeah, yeah, so that really depends on the season, I would say. If it is winter and it's a sunny day, I would love a little bit of sunshine because I really not I'm not a fan of winters and dreary weather is just not for me. I become a different person then. So a little bit of sunshine or during winter or on cold days is always welcome. Otherwise, it's always rain. Uh, uh, Especially if I'm in India and in Bombay, always rains.
Rains in Bombay. When I first moved to Bombay, I was there for nearly 12 years. When I first moved to Bombay and it started raining, and I did what every time people do in the rest of India, that is close this, close that, children won't go out, you'll fall sick. But then I joined the pack of runners and I became a runner thanks to
Wow.
Bombay. And I discovered the pleasures of monsoon. And I felt that I have cheated myself most of my life not enjoying the rains. And now I live in Pune, which is one step better still. The moment it's monsoon, everybody is out.
Ah,
They go for
lovely.
treks, they go for runs, whatever they do. Monsoon seems to be the favorite season. So I can well imagine you enjoying yourself in the pouring rain. Yeah,
Nilshi has guessed. She said sunshine. And yes, after moving out of India, yes, I have definitely come to,
appreciate.
appreciate and enjoy sunshine a lot more.
Isn't that sad? When we are in India, we don't go into the sun. We are
Yeah,
trying to protect ourselves from sunscreens
yeah,
and all that stuff.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
the
and
first,
we all suffer from a lack of vitamin D.
yeah.
Any That's such a
Yeah. So
irony.
for the first year that I moved here, I always used to call myself Jadoo. Always like do.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine. I can
yeah.
imagine. So your
Okay.
next question, it's
Yes.
your turn,
Uh,
right?
yes, my turn. So my question is the story that took you the longest to write and why? Take us through the journey from its ideation to its final draft.
So there is a story called The Second Chance. I don't know whether you recall it. So that took a long time because it was the first 2,500 word uh,
Oh,
or more
if you can tell
story.
me the context, a little bit of setting of
Yes,
the story, I will definitely remember.
yes.
Yes.
So the second chance is about this little village on the mountainside of Kashmir,
Yes.
and where
Oh, I love that story. Beautiful story. Yes.
yeah. So my father was posted in J&K for some time, and then my husband was also, and I saw a remarkable difference in the appearance of people there. When my
Hmm.
father was there, when I was a kid, we would see the typical Kashmiri people with that silver jewelry and those dresses, the firans and smiling faces and everything, because things were very different then.
Hmm.
And when my husband was there, it was very different. And when I went there for, we could go only for short whiles in during summer. I was shocked to see only girls, and the girls were going to school, which was a good thing, but they were only girls. And on the roadside, you will see, and none of them had any silver item on them. You know,
Hmm.
there was no jewelry. I think it must have gone long back for whatever reason. And then, of course, one heard, one read, and then I kind of just try to visualize what was happening, and that is how that story has come up about.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's a great read into your mind.
Yeah, but it was very difficult for me because the first time I was writing, and like you said, your novels, you have to plot it out because
Yeah.
otherwise you can't write
Yes.
a story of that length. So for me, it was the first time, so it took time, and
Yeah.
I
I can
have
imagine.
limited
Yes.
time
Yeah.
to type out my stories per day,
Hmm.
and so that story needed me to be more disciplined, more
Hmm.
focused, and
Hmm.
kind of uh, go about it, and then visualize what's going to be the end and how is it going to happen. So all that joining of the dots, yes, it was a
Lovely.
little
Yeah.
demanding
Oh,
for me. The first one,
and yeah. Okay.
yeah. Okay,
Wow.
are you ready?
Yes.
What do you prefer, reading or writing?
Reading always. Because take away reading and I won't get any motivation or inspiration for my writing. So yeah, without read, my love for reading the writer Manali, the author Manali would not have existed. So always reading.
I can understand that because even for me, given that, I mean, the first thing that I would like to do is pick up a book. So I can
Yeah.
understand. And even though I've tried the Kindle, there's nothing like holding a book in my hand. You know?
Yes.
And so I'm pretty old-fashioned, I would say, that way. And I just enjoy reading, and I can
Hmm.
understand what you're saying. After reading comes writing. Maybe there will be a day when I would like to write more. Mm, Probably because right now writing is a second, what should I say, activity. The
Hmm.
primary
It's
activity is
not
something
the main
else.
job. Yeah. It's
It's
not
not
your
the
main
main
profession.
job or profession or career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that day, of course, then we'll be different, I guess.
Yeah.
But this writing passion overtakes many other
Yeah.
things, and but and it's so fulfilling. That's
Yeah.
what,
It is.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
okay.
That brings me, okay. We have Urmi here. So true, nothing like a print copy. Oh, we have old school lovers here.
Yeah, and Urmi is such
Paperback
a
lovers.
great writer herself. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm glad.
is it? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
I have to
Urmi
check
writes
out her
beautifully.
books
Yes,
then.
you
Yeah.
must, you
Okay.
must. You'll love it, what she does. Yes.
Okay. That brings me to my last question for you, which is a story you feel you could have, written better or differently or ended in a different manner, and why?
Quite a few, I guess. In retrospect, feels like I could have written them in a better way or maybe planned it a little bit more crisply. But the story which actually comes to my mind right now is Jump. I told you it's about an elderly lady, and we'll not give away much about what is she jumping about.
Hmm.
But I wanted to build up her character as someone who's fought in the Second World War,
Hmm.
participated in that, and I
Hmm.
wanted to, if I mean, I should have taken the time and shown her from being a German. So I wanted to
Oh,
basically wanted to show that people across the world, when they participate in the war, their emotions are the same.
yeah.
This was of course, and something that was inspired by All Quiet on the Western Front, if you've read that book. So uh, that is the thought which
Hmm.
was the basis
Yeah.
of writing that story, with a twist and turn. But I wanted to show that that gutsy girl, you know, who's playing all kinds of village games, and then she grows
Mhm.
up and joins the armed forces, and in the World War, she plays a major role in saving her regiment, and even when she is elderly, that same zest for life
Hmm.
carries on. So that building of that character, I felt I did it very quickly. I didn't give
Hmm.
her that
Okay.
chance. That character arc wasn't developed so much as
Okay.
I would today. I would like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for being so honest. We find it so rare that, writers are able to accept their flaws.
Uh, well,
Yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah.
think you're
Okay.
complimenting me. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I am. I am. It takes a while for, writers to accept that they could have done something better. I have, in my conversation and in my knowing of writers, I know
Okay.
and understand that,
All right.
writers are a little, uh, they have fragile egos.
But both of us know that whatever we have written, which may have been good, can become excellent,
Yes,
given
definitely.
another
Yes.
shot by us only. And someone else
Yeah.
doesn't have to do anything. So
Yeah.
that brings me to a very simple question for you. Um, what is that thing that you love about Manali the most?
I think the how self-motivated she is. I think I liked that about Manali a lot. And she doesn't need external validation for that. She is, you know, she looks at something and she's instantly motivated, and she doesn't need somebody else to point it out as a source of her motivation. So I think that's one quality that I really admire about myself. And over the past decade or so, I it has very rarely happened that the self motivation has dwindled for more than a couple of days. So I would like to keep that quality in myself intact.
I must applaud you for that, because that alone, that driving force alone is going to hold you in such great stead, and keep you going and get the best out of you,
Yeah,
and not let you feel feel low,
thank
or
you.
feel the need for someone else to applaud your work. And that's wonderful, and that is actual what should I say, um, be actual true independence,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah. And we have Urmi here. She's also appreciating your uh, acceptance of how you might have made the story better. She's saying exactly, Anamika, that was really candid. Admire this trait in you.
Thank you so much, Urmi. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of today's episode.
Oh,
Is there anything you would like to say
we are
before
already
we
at the
leave
end.
it? Yes, we are. It
Okay.
was so wonderful.
Yeah.
We didn't even realize. I think it has been an hour that we have been
Oh,
talking.
great. It's been wonderful talking to you, and also to get to know so much about you, and get to know so much about myself also, because I never looked at things from that point of view,
Yeah,
and that you have. And thanks to everyone who joined us and who shared the time with us and made this conversation really meaningful.
yeah. Urmi is also appreciating me, so I just have to thank her. Thank you so much, Urmi. She's saying that's such a wonderful trait, Manali, your driving force and self motivation. Yes,
Yes,
thank you so much, Urmi.
yes.
Okay, and thank you so much. Before I let my guests go, I always ask this question: what's next for you as a writer?
I am now trying to progress towards writing a complete novel.
Okay,
So last year I wrote one novella, thanks to a group called Penmancy, which is a great platform online. And so I took up that challenge just to push myself. And at least I got down to writing one novella. That's thanks to Aparna, because she would ask me about it and wouldn't let me rest without achieving that. So yes, I got that done, and that thrill, that kick was awesome. So I think that will be next. That I pen a longer story,
okay,
and like you said, that needs more time and planning, and that's exactly what I'm headed
Wonderful.
for.
Can we expect it to be out in sometime in 2025?
If all goes well, why not? Yes.
Yeah. So my purpose always of asking this question is because I love to have repeat guests, and
Oh.
I always look forward to talking to people I enjoyed talking to on the episode, and I ask them, "Abhi next book कब लिख रहे हो?" So I can invite you again.
It will be such a pleasure. Thank you so much for that confidence in me. That will definitely motivate me. I like validation.
I also like. It's just that I don't always like. I'm okay
Yeah,
if
yeah. I
nobody
understand.
appreciates.
We
Yeah.
don't keep waiting for that. We
Yeah.
carry on with what has to be done, has to be
Yes.
done.
Yes.
I know what you mean. But
Yeah.
it's always nice to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
some validation.
Definitely. Yes. Whatever, how much ever we deny, there is somewhere we also need our morale and ego boost from
Yes.
external factors
Yeah.
also. That is also very much required.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you
So this
so much
has
for
been
having
a
me over.
wonderful, yes. Same
And
here. I
it
had a
was,
wonderful time.
yeah. And where time flew, we didn't even come to know.
Yes.
But it was really, really nice, and lots of learning and lots of takeaways. Thank you so
Yes.
much,
Thank you
and
so much,
see you
Anamika.
soon.
And I look
Bye.
forward to hosting you again next year. Please get down to that novel
Yes,
fast.
fast.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us and have
You,
a great weekend. Bye.
you too.